What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Phase 6, your source for music, business, motivation, and support. It's your boy, Sir Love. I got another dope episode for you. I got a question coming from boom, Cameron Tolbert. And for those that are new to the channel, what I do is I answer questions that you may have in the comment sections. And I ask you to engage in conversation and talk about it. Let's talk about your thoughts, your feelings, and your experience with these different topics. Send a question in if you choose to, and I will answer it. And if you find this video helpful, my ask is that you like, subscribe, and share, right? Like, subscribe, and share. Let people know. All right, so let's do this. All right, this is exactly the information I was looking for, referring to a video I did on licensing to a major label. What do major labels look for when they are considering licensing a body of work, right? So we talked about licensing to a major label, but now you want to understand, if I get the opportunity to license to a major label, then what exactly would they be looking for in the body of work, right? Let's talk about it. So your body of work, for those that are not familiar with this language, is your catalog, right? Your catalog is all the records that you have produced or created, or that you have ownership of, because you didn't have to create anything to have a body of work or a catalog. Things that you have ownership of in your catalog, your repository of records that you currently own. What is a record label looking for if they were to do a licensing deal with you? And I mentioned in that video that it's likely going to be done through the publishing side of the company, less the actual label themselves, because that would be the party that would have more interest in the stake, that could do more with it, that can generate more revenue from it. But if this major entity, let's just use that language because the label side could decide to do this, but if the entity wanted to license a major work, your body of work, it would likely be because the work has already shown that it will generate money in the future, or that it is generating money now. Let's talk about that. Because at the end of the day, licensing is all about generating revenue and getting paid, right? We know that about every 10 years, music is going to be recycled, right? Every 10 years, music can be recycled. Then it gets to a point where returns can start to diminish for some artists and just stay consistent for others. Why is this? Because everyone has these childhood experiences. Somewhere around 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, somewhere everywhere from about 13 to about 20 years old, right? You are going to find the music of your time, right? You're going to fall in love with with several groups of artists. There'll probably be about 3 different trends that occur during that time frame, right? 3 different genres or trends or style of music that you will fall in love with. And it will be, your period of great music. It will be the time period that you look back on and say, man, I remember when music used to be like this, right? Because those moments will be tied to your first kiss, your first girlfriend, boyfriend relationship, your first college experience, your first independent experience, your first time driving, your first time really remembering vacations and things of that nature, your first time, there's a lot of first times between 13 and 20, right? And all of these positive experiences will be associated with music, right? And you will hear songs that will take you back to that time. All right. And for those that are still in that space, just keep enjoying this time. It's beautiful. You don't get it back. All right. Music is this beautiful free thing. It's not complex. It's hard. There's a different emotional passion that you will have for music during this time frame than you will have at later times in life. Later times in life, you start getting bogged down with bills, real life, all sorts of situations that will make music less of a passion, escapism, sort of freedom, and music becomes something else later in life. But at this point, this is magic. This is where music is truly magical. You have points before this where, like, you're doing the Disney thing, you're doing the childhood thing, you're going to create a lot of bonds. But at this point, magic. 13 to about 20. Well, 10 years later, you're no longer 13 to 20. You're 23 to 30. And you're in the market for buying shit, right? You're at an age now where you're buying cars, you're buying products, right? Dishwashing detergent and deodorant and all sorts of things in your life. You're buying homes, you're buying dishwashers, you're in the purchasing space of your life, which will continue till about 40, right? But in this time frame, we want to, or the label or the licensing entity wants to go back and get all that music from your childhood that gives you those warm, fuzzy feelings that makes you feel good, and use those fuzzy feelings to get you excited about purchasing something new. Whatever music you're listening to right now, 10 years from now, you're going to hear that music behind a soap commercial, a shower gel commercial, a deodorant commercial, a shoe commercial. You're going to hear this music again. And the idea is to associate this music with an emotion that makes you feel good so that you feel good about buying a product. And that increases the value of your records. Your purchasing power in the future increases the value of someone else's music. Wow, that's a connection. So why would a person buy a licensed body of work? Because if you were making hit records during a certain period of time, that in the future, there's going to be a lot of people wanting to get access to that record. DJ Mustard recently, like last year, sold away a large portion of his publishing rights as masters or something of that nature. Masters publishing something for a large sum of money, right? And it was controversial. Was it a good thing? Was it a bad thing? I actually talked about that in one of my videos. I'm not sure which one. Just go back and watch my video. You'll see it, right? And it's a controversial thought of why should I sell away this thing that is valuable, right? And for him, I gave allusions to like flipping a house, short-term money, long-term money. How long do you want to hold an asset before you want to cash in? Blah, 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 right? But the licensing concept, right? Getting back to the point, Cameron, I feel like I'm going a long circle, but I'm going to give this to you from a licensing perspective, all right? Instead of selling the rights over, you're saying, hey, I'm going to give you the right to go out and make money off of my music while retaining ownership myself, right? Depending on the value of said music and the value in the market space, meaning the resale value to people that want to use it for commercials, people that want to use it in movies, because film will do the same thing, right? If they want to get your movie tickets, if they want to get your streaming dollars, they have to do music, they have to do movies that are reminiscent of your youth, right? So right now you're watching movies that may be of your parents' time or your older cousin's time or your older so-and-so's time. It's a time period. The movie is set in this year to this year. But give it a second, and you'll wake up one day and the movies will be set in your childhood. You'll be the star, the adult of the movie, and they'll be playing music from your time. And that music has to be licensed from somewhere. Again, record labels know this. They've seen this cycle happen from the 20s to today, which the 2020s, right? 1920s to the 2020s. They've been doing this for 100 years. They know what's going to happen next, right? And so because of that, they're going to invest early, get their footing in the game early so they can cash out later. So to answer your question, what do major labels look for when they are considering licensing a body of work? They're looking for records that had an impact today that could be reused in the future. Records that had minimal cursing, records that had a huge impact on radio, huge impact on streaming, records that have commercial appeal, meaning the content is amazing. So a very popular record, I'm walking on sunshine, hey, hey, right? That right, and doesn't it feel good? Right? That record was a smash back in the day, but it has commercial appeal. Why? There's no cursing. There's a certain key range that they look for. There's also the fact that that quote can be used to sell all sorts of crap, which it has been used to sell, I think, toilet paper and other stuff, right? I'm walking on sunshine, and doesn't it feel good? You can sell shoes with that, right? The phrase makes sense, right? If a person's doing a movie and they just fell in love with someone and they go, oh my gosh, I'm so happy, they can play that record while so-and-so is skipping down the street, I'm walking on sunshine, hey, right? You hear it over and over again, and I feel good, right? There's a commercial appeal to the lyrics. There are a lot of things that they're looking for, right, in reference to why they will license the record. Then there's also immediate success, right? There's also immediate, this record is hot right now. There's people that want to use the record right now to make appeal right now, and use it in a video game right now, in a movie right now. And so I might want to license the record from you right now if I don't already have publishing on you. Because if you sign to a major record label, they likely have some type of ownership in the publishing anyway. And it could be advantageous to give them some type of co-ownership or whatever in the record so that they can go out and work the record and make it more money. Because if no one's working the record in these commercial spaces, then the record's just not going to make money. You'll have 100% ownership in a space that's making you $0. The benefit of licensing is that you're coming in as an independent saying, I own my shit. I don't have to do a pub deal with you. I can do a licensing deal with you or an admin deal with you, and you can go out here and work my records, and you can make money off of my records, but you don't own it. But you can get the same type of payout from the records. It's just I'm in control, all right? But doing it this way, you have to be a steward of your ownership, of your property, of your intellectual property, your IP. If you're not a steward of it, it will sit, collect dust, and make you $0. And so sometimes it's beneficial to have co-ownership with someone else because that someone else may be motivated to make things happen with the record. It's also easier for entities to get in contact with them because they have established themselves in the space as, if you want commercial records, if you need catalogs, if you need this, come to us. And you as an individual may not have done that at scale where, all these movie studios and major commercial houses know to come to you for your music. Your catalog might not be vast enough to make all these entities even want to do business with you. So the benefit of licensing to said company is that they are a shining beacon saying, if you need great music, come here, right? And if you do a licensing deal with them, then it can make your music available to them. So in the body of the work, they're looking for records that were a smash in the past that can be reused in the future, right? And that phrase is 10 years later. It could also be 20 years later. It's a 10 to 20 year space. So from 13 to, if I said from 13 to 20, it's really, when you go forward, it can be 10 years, which is 23 to 30, or 20 years, which makes that 23-year-old, right, 33 to 40, right? Because that whole 20-year space, the record is going to be valuable. So typically labels will wait. They'll wait. They don't want your record when it's hot a lot of times. They'll wait. They'll wait 6-7 years. Records starting to die down. All your records have died down. The trends change. The times are different, right? Crunk music, for example. When I was in high school, crunk music was it. Nuck If You Buck, Lil Jon throwing bows, this, that, and the third, right? It's not going to be long before we're going to start hearing all those records in film and television. Maybe, because they're not really commercially viable. They're really violent. But there's a time period where Lean With It, Rock With It, and snap music and the Franchise Boys and all that stuff that was happening in that time period is going to get real relevant. And we're in that gap right about now where all that stuff's going to pop up. I've actually started hearing it in some movies already, in some independent films. It's going to get real popular going forward. But a lot of other records that were more commercially viable, I've heard them records from my childhood that have been used in film and television. This is just how the game works. So I hope that was helpful. That's a different way to look at it. I'm pretty sure he wasn't expecting that. I'm enjoying talking about this. I'm trying to make sure there's not anything else that you should consider. No, anything else that you consider is going to be more of your traditional concepts. And I'll just mention these because you may not be familiar with the traditional stuff. But the traditional stuff is just, music that can be easily placed. It's commercially viable music. They're typically clean, typically has good positive meanings. The messages and words and lyrics to the songs typically fit some type of theme that could be used to sell products or fit in television. The genres of the music are typically very diverse. People want very diverse catalogs, or they want very focused catalogs, one or the other. If you have a diverse catalog, they need to be very large. If you have a focused catalog, it can be smaller. By focused or diverse, I mean the genres, the type of content being produced in the catalog. And this is all just the general stuff, right? Because right now, I've been involved in aiding supervisors in licensing projects and different things of that nature. And what they're looking for is things that they can put in television and films now, especially if it's independent and people don't know what it is. That's the other side. If your today moves are independent records where no one knows who it is, but it fits the sound of a time frame. They're trying to accomplish the same thing, but they can't afford to buy the original record. I can't afford I'm Walking on Sunshine, so I need a record that feels like I'm walking on sunshine, that sounds like that time period by an independent artist that still gives me that good feel I'm looking for my scene or for my commercial without me having to pay the type of licensing fee that I'd have to pay or sync fee that I have to pay to get that other record. So there's a whole audience of people that are producing bodies of work from an independent perspective that are matching everything I mentioned before, but they're doing it independently and they're getting selected now and today versus in the future because everyone can't afford the top dollar stuff. So I hope this is beneficial. I'm rambling. I can keep going on and on about this. Particularly love this topic. There's a lot of ways to approach this question, but I wanted to approach it in a way where I felt like nobody else would. Hope this was beneficial. Share this video, man. Like, subscribe. Don't click off now. Share the video, right? Leave if you have a question. If you thought this was insightful and helpful, leave a question below. Share the video. Tell other people about it, man. Tell the world. Help us win. Help us grow. Help us expand. I don't know everything, but I know a lot about a little bit about a lot. I'm always trying to give you guys everything that I got right here on Phase 6. That is my tagline. It's Sir Love, and I am out. My emails are going off. Golly, who was trying to get in contact with me?